It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Now, here's Joe Concha.
And welcome, everybody, on this lovely Sunday morning, the last day of May. Oh, I can't get over this whole race in Texas. I've been talking about it a lot on Fox News lately. And I've come to the conclusion that James Tallarico cannot win in Texas. And I've heard analysis over and over again from the usual political pundits who told us we would have a President Hillary Clinton and a President Kamala Harris saying that Tallarico has a real shot in the great state of Texas. This guy is so far to the left and so easy to mock that Ken Paxton, warts and all, with President Trump's backing, should win this race 3, 4, 5 points. Just like we saw with Beto O'Rourke, where everybody said, oh, he'll be the next senator of Texas. He'll beat Ted Cruz. Oh, no, he'll be governor. He'll beat Greg Abbott. Whoops, lost both those races. Oh, he'll be president one day. Yeah, lasted a couple of months before he had to drop out. Same thing with Tallarico's worse, actually, than Beto O'Rourke, which is a very, very hard thing to do. Anyway, here he is. Now, remember, he literally is on video saying that he's so proud that his campaign will be the first non-meat campaign in Texas history and that they will only buy vegan products, right? He's on tape saying this. So then when he's called out on this by the Paxton campaign, now you have Tallarico, who's not a very good liar, pretending that he never said such a thing. And here he is in cut number 21. Go.
They're going to throw everything they've got at us. They've already called me a radical leftist. They've already called me a fake Christian. They've even called me a vegan. And those are fighting words in the state of Texas.
Yeah, okay, so let's leave it there. Now, what is with that accent from Tallarico? Those are fighting words in Texas, because he normally doesn't sound like that. And it made me kind of think, hey, Democrats tend to do this whole accents thing when they want to try to appeal to a certain audience by sounding a certain way, even though they don't normally talk that way. And AOC is the queen of the fake accent. And here she is in cut number 15. Go.
When Donald Trump tapped into this idea of make America great again.
That's her normal voice.
There was times of economic opportunity. Wages rose until the 1970s.
I'm proud to be a bartender.
Wait.
Ain't
it's
nothing
the new
wrong
accent.
with that.
What?
There's nothing wrong with working retail, folding clothes for other people to buy.
Bye.
There is nothing wrong with preparing the food that your neighbors will eat.
Oh, that's tremendous. Yeah, the juxtaposition is just so overwhelming. How about Kamala Harris? Now, AOC kind of sells it, right? Where if you didn't know better, you'd be like, maybe she does sound like that. Kamala, no, this is, well, that's why I call her the human Chernobyl outside of a teleprompter. Cut number 16 and go.
I think it's okay for us to be a bit transactional too. And to say, I'm going to get mine also.
Oh, no. No.
And so don't count on me to be a voter and be the backbone of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, sounds totally sober there. And again, I don't know where that voice came from. It gets worse. Trust me. In cut number 17, we're having some fun today at brunch time. Cut number 17, go.
Hello to all my divine nine brothers and sisters.
Good God.
And my chorus.
Oh, boy.
And to all my HBCU brothers and sisters.
Ah, the cackle. You got to love it. And again, saw another poll out yesterday. She is the leader for the Democrat nomination in 2028. Imagine her campaigning for 2 years throughout the primaries and then in general. Think about how she was over just 107 days in 2024, spending all that money, $1.7 billion with a B dollars, only to lose every swing state in the popular vote. ROI, people. Get to know it. Anyway, Hillary Clinton, one of my favorite accents as well. She went down south to a black church, and this goes exactly the way you would expect. Cut number 18, go.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from.
Where, Illinois?
He told me that the road would be easy.
Not good, not good.
I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
My hair hurts from having heard that again. And people clap. Again, I don't understand these audiences. Wouldn't you be remotely insulted if somebody talked to you that way when you know, Hillary, you're from Illinois and then Arkansas. You don't sound like this. Stop pandering with a P. Speaking of pandering, yeah, we got Gavin Newsom, who decided to try to sound black one time because he was on a all-black podcast, Up in Smoke, I believe it's called, a couple of former NBA players. And again, these guys interviewing him, I think they're somewhat smart. When they call him out, I'm like, hey, Gavin, you sound a lot different than you normally do. Why are you talking like that? Nope. They laugh right along and cut number 19 go.
But also, it was also about paying the bills, man.
Oh.
It was just like hustling. And so I was out there kind of raising myself, turning on the TV, started, just getting obsessed, sitting there with the Wonder Bread and 5 stacks of,
it's like the White Stack 5 story.
Come on.
What the actual hell? And again, he's number 2 for the nomination right now, Gavin Newsom, which I still have him as the favorite, for lack of a better term, because the guy can lie better than anyone and looks the part. And some people out there are stupid enough to say, good enough. What about his record in California? Highest homeless rate, highest poverty rate, tent cities that deserve their own zip codes, his handling of the wildfires. What about all that? Does that count? No, of course not. It's, hey, defeat, I guess Trump. Can't run against Trump because that's all he talks about. So I guess he'll try to paint J.D. Vance and or Marco Rubio as the next coming of Trump, but worse than Trump. Trust me, you're going to start hearing that analysis once it gets decided between Marco and JD who the nominee is going to be, and it's up to them. I mean, of course, it's up to voters, but let's face it. JD Vance runs. Marco Rubio will not run against him. Will probably be his vice president. Okay, JD Vance doesn't run, which is what I think is going to happen, because when you're 41 years old and you got a 4th kid on the way, and you have plenty of young kids at home, and you got this really long runway, why not hand it over to Marco, who would be the better candidate, who would be, I think, unbeatable, quite frankly. And in 15 years, when your kids are grown up, 20 years, you're still only 60, which is young these days for running for president. And J.D. Vance very easily can step in and do that, and then maybe in the meantime serve in Marco's cabinet as Secretary of State or any job he wants, quite frankly. So I'm just throwing that out there. Meanwhile, our friend Brianna Lyman, she's been on this show before. She's from The Federalist. She got to do the man on the street interview thing for Hannity, which I've been asked to do in the past. Always fun. And she went to AOC's district and asked supporters of AOC, what's something that you like that AOC has done for this community? And the answers are, well, not good. Cut number 20, go.
Did you vote for AOC?
Yes.
What is one thing that AOC has done that you like?
I don't know that I could. I don't pay attention to those particular details, but
Why?
I can't. I don't know that I can think of something. I'm sorry.
Did you vote for AOC?
Yes.
All right. What is one thing that she's done that you really like?
I don't remember anymore.
You don't remember because nothing exists. She hasn't sponsored or co-sponsored one bill that has even made it to the floor in Congress. Never even made it to the floor. Think about this. And her only accomplishment that she still brags about to this day is making sure Amazon didn't come to her district. Second headquarters. 25,000 jobs. $150,000 average salary. And she made sure that didn't happen. Because she was dumb enough to make this argument that, well, Governor Cuomo at the time and Mayor de Blasio at the time were offering something like $4 billion in tax breaks if Amazon came to New York City. Okay. And she makes the argument that no, we should take that $4 billion and instead invest in making the subways better and making the city cleaner, all this stuff. Like as if like the $4 billion is some sort of magical pot that exists somewhere, like a treasure chest, and then you could just allocate that money any way you want. What she failed to argue, because she can't, because she's economically illiterate, despite being a business major, I believe, at Boston University, is the fact that Amazon was offered the $4 billion, but the tax revenue that they would create as a result of all those jobs, of that headquarters being here, would be $29 billion. Oh, so that is a net gain of 29 minus 4 is $25 billion. And she made sure it didn't happen. And that's why, ask anyone if they support AOC, okay, what has she accomplished? And not, oh, well, she's fighting the oligarchy. I don't think counts. Especially when she flies private to these events. Private jets. You know what those cost per hour? $15,000 minimum. And she has the audacity to say she's working for the working class. She is the champion of those who are having trouble getting by and affording things while she flies private. Oh, by the way, not very good for the climate. Not very good for the earth that she says will cease to exist by 2031. How's that prediction going? Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Back with so much more in just a moment.
It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Now, here's Joe Concha.
Welcome back, everyone. So, as you know, on this lovely Sunday show, we usually play some clips from Bill Maher's show, which airs on Friday night on HBO. You say, what are you doing playing that liberal? Because the guy is actually honest in his convictions. You could disagree with a lot of what Maher has to say, especially when it comes to Trump, but he at least will hit both sides with facts, by the way, right? Unlike a Jimmy Kimmel, for example, who without Stephen Colbert, I guess, is the leftover at this point in late night, who serves as a spokesperson for anybody who is a Democrat. Now, apparently, is a big Karen Bass fan, Jimmy Kimmel is. But anyway, we'll get to that in a moment. Here is Maher talking about how red states are kicking the ass of blue states when it comes to education, despite the fact that much more money is spent in blue states on education, yet the test scores don't seem to reflect that. Anyway, Bill Maher, cut 2, go.
Did you know that a black fourth grader in Mississippi is 2.5 times as likely to be proficient in math and reading as one in California? Mississippi is kicking our ass in education, and for way less money. We're 37th in fourth grade reading, they're 9th. Texas is kicking our ass in green energy. The average time to get solar panels connected there was 3 to 4 months. About 1,000 days faster than it took me. Remember when I was trying to get my solar hooked up? It would have been quicker to build a windmill. Texas has passed California in solar and blows away California when it comes to wind and energy storage. How does a state with no pro-climate policies produce better climate results than a state where here, even though we have so much better stickers on our bumper Prius, bumper stickers on our Priuses, you know what I'm saying. I'll tell you why. Because you're allowed to build there. Because every third person in Texas isn't someone whose job it is to make sure nothing gets done. Democrats, these are your issues. Education, race, the environment. And I say this with love. You're losing to the Waffle House car on the lawn states.
Well, let's see how Bill Maher votes, however. Let's say Gavin Newsom is the nominee. And let's say it's against Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance. Despite saying all these things about how horribly California is run, would Maher just say, well, screw it, I'm going to vote for Gavin anyway? Probably. Oh, boy. Meanwhile, you got to hear this. Very interesting stuff here. Jill Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, she's out there saying that, boy, she thought that because she has a book to sell. I thought my husband was having a stroke during that debate against Trump in Atlanta on June 27, 2024. And then afterwards took the guy to Waffle House. Because if your heart's having problems, what better place to go to? Forget the hospital. Forget a defibrillator. Get me some syrup and some butter and some high carbs, and let's see how it goes. But you look back on all the coverage of Joe Biden and the Auto Pen administration and his brain turning the applesauce, not that night at Georgia Tech in June of 2024. We're going back to like 2019, 2020, when he was clearly showing that the elevator wasn't going to the penthouse. Anyway, here is Abby Phillip on CNN in the most condescending way possible, because that's just the way Abby is. And here's her talking about all those cheap fake videos that were created to make Biden look bad because he's as sharp as John Nash and, well, as mobile as Jackson Dart. Here is cut number 9. Go.
The November choice is between two old men. We know that. But tonight I want to talk about the Joe Biden that Republicans want you to see and the pipeline of videos that aren't telling the full truth.
No.
Now, those videos are probably right now clogging the public consciousness as Americans start to think about their votes. The RNC wants to weaponize questions around Biden's age.
Yeah. All those cheap fakes want to weaponize Biden's age. He's doing great. And the RNC and Trump is trying to make him look bad. How's that aging now, Abby Phillip? And this, again, her show can even get 600,000 viewers at 10 p.m. on a network that's in more than 90 million homes. And Greg Gutfeld regularly gets well over 2 million. So we're talking 4 times the audience. And Greg does it without being so pious and such a know-it-all like Abby Phillip, who once actually went on Joy Reid's show and said her job is to correct conservatives because they're not prepared the way she is. Right. Anyway, before we go to break, Chris Coons, this is right before the Biden debate. And again, this is what was being peddled on places like CNN without any pushback from the anchors whatsoever. Cut number 7, go.
Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No.
None.
If your core question is President Biden up to the job? Absolutely. And I don't hear a lot of coverage of the ways in which former President Trump makes very similar slips, mistakes, mishaps, fails to grasp who he's talking to or where he is. There's been a relentless focus in some news outlets on minor slips by our president that I frankly think are typical of anyone who's keeping a demanding 14-hour-a-day schedule.
And Jake Tapper just keeps his mouth shut from there, only to write a book a year later saying how, oh boy, it was the Democrats that were hiding Joe Biden's true cognitive decline from us, and we're here to expose it now. Way to go, Jake. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is the Tunnel to Tower Foundation Sunday morning show. Back with so much more in just a moment.
It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Now, here's Joe Concha.
And welcome everybody back to what has been an outstanding show so far. I'm going to self-critique myself, and I'm usually my toughest critic. We be having some fun here, including, well, this isn't funny, actually. I'm going to get serious here for a moment. Graham Plattner is running for Senate in Maine. This guy is a self-described communist. This is a guy who has cheered on Hamas when they've killed Israeli soldiers. This is the guy who 17 years ago decided to get a Nazi tattoo, only to get it removed last year after it was revealed that he had a Nazi tattoo. You would think that this would be completely disqualifying, especially among Democrat voters who, call Trump Hitler and a Nazi and a fascist every minute of every day. But for whatever reason, Graham Plattner is very competitive in this race against Susan Collins. Well, Graham Plattner, at one point, attacked a soldier, a guy who earned a Purple Heart because he decided to sacrifice himself during a fight with the Taliban in Afghanistan by drawing fire to himself so his unit can get out of a tough spot. He was shot 4 times. He survived. And Plattner said that he deserved to die because he was so stupid. And again, this isn't like, oh, somebody said he said that. No. It's literally in writing. Well, that soldier is now speaking out. And I don't see how Plattner survives this in a sane world, but Maine's not a very sane state, and they may end up electing this guy anyway. But anyway, here is that soldier, saying, Graham Plattner, go F yourself. Cut number 3, go.
Sir, I really don't even want an apology from the man. I think anything at this point would be disingenuous. And another point that I really want to make, I was approached by an older gentleman, older than me, the other day, who thanked me for standing up and commenting about the Graham Plattner situation. This guy told me he had lost his brother in Vietnam, and that the comments Plattner made affect so many people, and it shows that those in the Democrat Party really, truly don't care about veterans, about service, if they're going to continue to back this man. And, like I said, the guy who approached me lost his brother in Vietnam, and that really hit me.
Wow. Not much more to add to that. Again, Liz Warren, Pocahontas, says that Graham Plattner's her kind of man, and she supports him fully and totally. Even spoke at a rally on his behalf last week, as has Bernie Sanders. Last check is Jewish. You support the guy with the Nazi tattoo. Mamdani, AOC, they all support Plattner as well. I wish, can we have one reporter chase these people down and say, how do you support a guy who attacks veterans the way he did, wishing death on them? I want to hear the answer. I'm very curious about that. Meanwhile, this according to New York Times, Graham Plattner's insurgent bid for Senate in Maine was gathering steam last summer when his campaign was confronted with some potentially explosive information. Mr. Plattner's wife, Amy Gertner, told a senior campaign ad that he had been exchanging sexual messages with multiple other women. It was this kind of revelation, with the potential to damage the political newcomer, just as his campaign to unseat Senator Susan Collins, a Republican, was beginning to resonate with voters, especially in a state where female voters make up a large share of the electorate. Mr. Plattner's exchanges with women were confirmed by current and former campaign officials who gave different accounts of some of the details. Ms. Gertner, that's his wife, said the couple, who had married in November 2023, according to the town clerk and blah, 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 was working through his indiscretions in marriage counseling. So I don't have the exact details of what he wrote. I guess I wouldn't even want to share them anyway. But in the end, now Mrs. Plattner is standing by her man. Let's see. In a statement released by the campaign, she suggested that she had been betrayed by the person who leaked this information, saying she was deeply hurt and bothered by the invasion of our privacy. Yeah. All right. I'm sure you're proud of your husband. Congratulations on that. Meanwhile, on CNN, all right, I'll give praise where praise is due. And in this case, Michael Sperkanish hosts like a Saturday morning show there, I think, going after Plattner as far as that Nazi tattoo thing. And it's good to finally hear a little bit of honesty and a little bit of courage on that network. Cut number 13, go.
As for the tattoo, he didn't cover it until October of 2025, 18 years after getting it, and only when it became a political problem. Think about that for a moment. 18 years of getting out of the shower, 18 years of looking into the mirror and seeing the Totenkopf. That's not a drunken mistake in Croatia. That's a daily choice, sustained for nearly 2 decades.
Yeah. And Mrs. Plattner, by the way, you would see him getting out of the shower also. You didn't have any problem with that? We got some weird people running for office. There's no other way to put it. But if Zohran Mamdani can get elected and Jay Jones could be the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia, despite the fact that he wished literal death on his opponent, his wife, and his 2 young kids, saying that the kids, which are no older than kindergarten, deserve to die in their mother's arms. That guy got elected. So why not Graham Plattner? I guess some voters are just willing to ignore all that if it means voting against Republicans, voting against the Trump agenda. And that, my friends, is TDS on steroids. Meanwhile, this is just as crazy. We'll say with the crazy theme, shall we? Whoopi Goldberg on The View, an ABC News program, now screaming that Donald Trump has an agenda to make sure that interracial marriages don't exist in this country. And she says it like with conviction and a straight face. Cut number 14, go.
All of you. Talking about you and us.
He's not going to, say, oh, you're with a white guy, I'm going to keep you from being deported. No, he's going to deport you and put the white guy with someone else. The man is out there.
He's going to Wait. He's going to put the white guy with somebody else? Donald Trump can now arrange marriages? Is that the argument? Meanwhile, I think it was Ted Danson, right? Whoopi Goldberg dated the star of Cheers way back when, and then went to a party where Ted Danson wore blackface. Shouldn't have any problem with that. And Joy Behar also dressed up as Diana Ross one year, I believe, in blackface. But yeah, Trump's the racist. Right. Meanwhile, I love this so much. It's one of my favorite clips, like, ever. Here is Lawrence Taylor, all right, waiting on a Trump autograph. Now, Lawrence and I and Otis Anderson went to the Trump rally in Wildwood in 2024. That was May. They were there to support the president. I was there for my book and actually got to fly in the Trump plane, which was pretty awesome. I got to be in the motorcade. Pretty awesome. If you're going to write a book about a campaign, you got to have that behind-the-scenes access, and I certainly had it. Spoke to the president that day as well, or he was just the candidate and the former president at the time. Anyway, great story here from LT, cut number 6. Go.
Hi, this is Trump Media. Is this your first time you're ever waiting online for an autograph?
Of anyone.
Of anyone. First time ever.
First time ever.
LT?
Second time.
Second time. Who did you wait for the first time?
Santa Claus.
So Santa Claus is one. And Trump is 2. Santa Claus is 2.
That was quick. That was very quick on LT's part. Yeah. Santa Claus, that was one line I waited on. And then to get an autograph from President Trump, that is another. And that obviously will now have us pivot to the Jackson Dart controversy. Day, 144 it feels like? Jackson Dart, first-round draft pick of the Giants, introduced Trump at a rally in Suffern, New York for Bruce Blakeman a week ago Friday. And here we are still talking about this because Abdul Carter, who also was a first-round draft pick out of Penn State, went number 3, I believe. Didn't have the best rookie season, that's certainly for sure. Then went on social media and really had a big problem with Jackson Dart introducing President Trump. Let's say Jackson Dart introduced, I don't know, Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom at a rally. Would Abdul Carter have a problem with that because it's political? No, of course not. Because Abdul Carter doesn't like Trump. So therefore, instead of being a man and going directly to his teammate and speaking about whatever gripe you have privately, he had to run to social media. And that tweet that he sent out, post, whatever you want to call it, has been viewed more than 30 million times. Well, here's Abdul Carter now saying that he has a responsibility to attack his own quarterback. A responsibility? Really? Why not, I don't know, sack somebody, which you had a lot of problem doing last year. Abdul Carter, cut 5, go.
So first off, I want to say that some things are bigger than football, and this is one of those things. Jackson is one of our leaders. He's the face of our franchise. He not only represents himself and what he does, but he represents all of us. And that goes for anybody who wears a Giants uniform. But if he chooses to align himself with a man like President Trump, it's my responsibility, based on what I believe and what I stand on, to not only show my teammates that I'm against that, but to show the world. And that doesn't mean that we have to spread hate. It doesn't mean that me and Jackson hate each other or we have beef. I sit next to Jackson every day, every team meeting, we close, we talk. And we just, as long as we make sure we got the same goal as a team and our goals align, which they do, and I feel like that's all that matters. So I just want to move past this, and yeah, that's it.
You want to move past it? Okay. What you say is we talked about it, it's done. 5-second statement max, instead of Abdul Carter adding more fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, let's see. Abdul Carter, rookie year, again, third-round draft pick, Penn State, had 4 whole sacks in the entire season, 17 games. He was tied for 88th in sacks. Not to brag, but I had 10 sacks in only 11 games. Wayne Valley High School, state champs, 1988. Thank you. All right. I'm not exactly the biggest guy either. All right. I could get 10 in 11 games. This clown, who they trailed basically in every game, only got, 4 sacks, tied for 88th. Let's see. Let's go through this wonderful streak for the Giants last year. Lost at Denver, 33-32. Lost to Philadelphia, 38-20. Lost against the 49ers, 34-24. Lost at the Bears, 24-20. Lost versus Green Bay 27-20. Lost at Detroit 34-27. Lost at New England 33-15. Lost at Washington 29-21. Boy, those are some high-scoring games, aren't they, for the opponent? And you're supposed to be the leader of the defense, and you sucked. So enough like equating yourself with Jackson Dart, who is, the face of the franchise, because he introduced the president, got to do something that very few people get to do, and you're up there to lecture? Hit somebody. Maybe do that. Unbelievable. This clown. Anyway, let's move on to other matters, shall we? And this is, we're staying with the crazy theme. James Carville, who, again, I could go on and on about James Carville being the luckiest person on earth because he was a campaign advisor to Bill Clinton in 1992. And Clinton won that presidential race with just 43% of the vote because a guy named Ross Perot decided to step in as an independent and capture nearly 20% of the vote, probably taking more votes away from the incumbent in George H.W. Bush than Clinton, that's certainly for sure. So because Clinton wins that race with 43% of the vote, James Carville is now deemed a political genius. And for 4 years, we get to hear from this guy make bad prediction after bad prediction. Hillary Clinton's going to win in a landslide. Whoops. Kamala Harris is going to win. Whoops. I go down the line in terms of like governor's races, everything that this clown gets wrong. Now he's basically in his home where he screams at a camera all day about Trump. And the guy's got something seriously wrong with him. And this will underscore that point in cut number 12. Go.
You know what? I'm going to ask James what he thinks. I'm going to ask James. There he is. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. When I say the Democrats have a blind eye because of Trump derangement syndrome, thumbs up that you agree or thumbs down that you disagree? Come on, give me a sign. I want to know what I'm up for. Up or down? Up or down? Just a thumb.
I do have Trump derangement syndrome, and I'm very proud of it. I'm saying it. I have Trump derangement syndrome, and I'm very proud of it. Okay. I want more.
All right. Well,
okay.
All right. This is going to be interesting. Yeah, after the break.
This is the same guy, Carville, who says that he wants to see President Trump suffer. He doesn't want him to die right away, but he wants to see him suffer first. All on video. And again, because you coined "it's the economy" stupid, that makes you some sort of political genius? Yeah, every election comes down to the economy. And Carville, is treated like, wow, he had this great revelation, and that's why Clinton won. No, Clinton won because Ross Perot was in the race. And, oh, by the way, a recession hit during that election year under George H.W. Bush. And, oh, by the way, it's really, really hard for one party to stay in power in terms of the Oval Office for 16 straight years, and that's what would have happened if Bush won. So everything lined up. But James Carville had nothing to do with Bill Clinton's success, and now still gets booked on CNN, I guess, because I got Trump derangement syndrome and I want more. Okay, good for you. This is Joe Concha. This is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. We wrap this puppy up in just a moment.
It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Now, here's Joe Concha.
And welcome, everybody. So, I was on Fox and Friends weekend this morning with my good friend Charlie Hurt, and we did some very interesting topics, I have to say. For starters, apparently, there are more and more towns run by Democrats that are now banning fireworks being used during the America 250 celebrations. I mean, can you just crap over everybody's happiness? Even in this case, you're anti-fireworks because you don't want people celebrating. They want to be proud of this country. I'm personally, after the show, driving to Pennsylvania and buying as many fireworks as possible, and I'm going to fire them at will just to spite this whole thing happening. I mean, opposing fireworks is like opposing a cure for cancer. It's like opposing a Sydney Sweeney's jeans ad. All right? Un-American. Yet that is happening more and more. Meanwhile, I don't know if you heard this, but guy who's in the CIA, who has like top security clearance. He's one of the very top positions of the CIA. His name's David Rush. Okay. This guy somehow was able to expense more than 300 gold bars and then said it was for work-related expenses. Unbelievable. So between Gold Bar, Bob Menendez, my former senator of New Jersey, now this. So I don't know what it is with the gold bars, but it's a thing, apparently. Anyway, new Spencer Pratt ad has just dropped, and this thing is, they're all bangers. They're absolute bangers, one after the other. Prediction here is on June 2nd, that's this Tuesday, Graham Plattner will advance to the general election, face off against Karen Bass. And that's very interesting that a Republican is even remotely competitive in a city like Los Angeles. But here we are, and here's cut number 4. Go.
She's sick. Spencer Pratt is the common sense choice for Los Angeles. Just look around. The city is a mess, and our leaders have failed us. Homelessness, crime, drugs, everything is worse under Karen Bass.
This is bad. She's caught the Pratt. How did this happen?
We restrict her media diet. New York Times, MSNBC, NPR, maybe CNN if we're feeling frisky.
Oh.
Something must have slipped through.
Does she know anyone at all, who thinks for themselves?
I don't know. I don't think so. What is this?
It starts with a mild cough. And then, next thing you know, you hate seeing homeless drug addicts inject near kids. It's very contagious. I'm going to prescribe 4 doses of NPR every hour on the hour, 2 doses of the New York Times, and 5 doses of the LA Times.
Why was Karen Bass in Ghana while the city was burning?
6 doses. 6 doses of the LA Times. We'll have to hold her in quarantine with the others for a few days.
Yeah.
It's protocol.
There you go. All right, I think we can end it there, guys. That's great. She's caught the Pratt. In other words, common sense. Again, he's not running as a Republican and MAGA and all that stuff. He's saying, I don't want any more needles in parks where kids are stepping on them constantly. I don't want the homeless situation being so bad that these homeless encampments literally should have their own zip code. I think we probably should start rebuilding homes a lot faster, like the one that burned down of mine and my parents burned down, 17,000 overall. And maybe the mayor of Los Angeles shouldn't be in Ghana for a wedding when she had ample warnings saying that don't go, these things could get out of control, and she went anyway. It's very simple. I just don't see where any groundswell for Karen Bass is coming. And if Pratt could get to the general, I think he has an excellent chance of winning. So imagine that. We'll have a communist mayor of New York, anti-Semitic mayor of New York, 25 years after 9/11, and we will have a Republican running Los Angeles. The world truly is upside down. Anyway, this has been a fast hour. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. I'm back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time on WABC and on stations around the country. Until then, I got 2 words for you. Bye-bye.